I can't sing with the crap. All right, well, 15 seconds in, almost 20. Well, hopefully eventually I'll be getting an audience here sooner or later. In the meantime, I think I'm just going to babble on. I'm sure some of you are probably going to be coming back to watch this after I'm done streaming. So I'll go ahead and start talking about the computer situation. I'll go ahead and get that out of the way first, since that doesn't involve changing the scenery or whatnot. And oh, hey, already got someone. Cool. Hello there, meatbags. Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. So, my computer. So I am working on my actual computer for the first time in like 5 or 6 months. For those who haven't heard the story, which might be the case with you, Meat, my computer basically crashed and told me to go F myself. And apparently I needed a new battery. So I checked out a laptop at the college that I work at, and I've been using that ever since, which in some ways has been better than this thing. I mean, it runs faster, but the problem is because of it being property of the college, there was a lot that I was not permitted to do. I could not install my home printer. I couldn't download programs to allow me to make videos that I used to make. Like if you go through the videos section on what I've done, most of the last almost year have been short videos that have been anywhere between 15 seconds to 5 minutes, usually responding to TikTok videos and a lot. So now that I have my computer back and I have the programs to make and edit videos and stuff, I do plan on doing that some more eventually, as well as making some custom videos based off of the stories that I've written in different classes that I've been taking at the college that I work at. So both of which have MGTOW themed elements to them. So I'm hoping that some of y'all will like it. Maybe even all. Yay. In the meantime, I'm going to be kind of slowing down well, I guess I shouldn't really say slowing down because I haven't been doing a whole lot lately. But I'm still going to try to do weekly streams. I know I haven't really been doing that great of a job. It's kind of what happens when you have parenting responsibilities. But you know what? This is the week where my son is with his mom, which that's the agreement that we have for the summertime is 1 week with me, 1 week with her. And when he starts up school again, it's going to go back to how it was, where I have custody and she gets him every other weekend. Which she's been unemployed for the last couple of months. So in a way, that's been really good for my son because it means he actually gets to see his mom instead of sit around in the apartment playing games on the phone with his grandmother kind of thing. Which I don't have any objection to that either. I like his grandma. She's a pretty neat lady. She's one hell of a talker, though. Sorry. So that's basically it with the computer aspects. I guess another thing to bring up is around the time that my laptop had crashed, I was in talks with someone to get some VTuber animators made, VTuber characters made, I should say. One of which is going to be a shot of whiskey. It's basically going to be what you see here, a shot glass. It's going to look slightly different. And I plan on using that mostly for my short little TikTok response videos. For any live streaming stuff that I'm doing, like with this, I'll probably stick with what you're looking at now. I might change that. I don't know. I haven't really figured that part out yet. But I'll be using a program called VTuber Studios. I think that's what it was called. Yeah, VTube Studios. And so yeah, there's that. Also, I'm wanting to do some upgrades on my PC. It's so damn slow. My gosh. I tell this joke that if I'm on using Microsoft Word or Notepad or anything that involves typing, if I type the word dog, it'll take 2 minutes before the G shows up. That's kind of a joke, but unfortunately, it's not that much of a stretch. It takes quite a while for words to show up. I hate that computer so much in so many ways, but it still works. I'm wanting to do some upgrades on it to make it run faster. Not only faster than it is now, but possibly even faster than how it was when I first got the damn thing. Which I got a list of the things to do that's been recommended. Installing more RAM, upgrading my storage drive to something larger, upgrading graphics card. I mean, that especially should be the case if I'm going to be doing video game stuff. And let's see, there was one other thing. Oh, here it is. Upgrade your CPU or get one with integrated graphics to boost your gaming performance. Okay. So basically, buy stuff, put it in the computer, boom. That's something that's going to be kind of progressing over the next few months. I've got other things I got to take care of as well, which is going to be kind of hard because now with it being summer, that means there's going to be not as many overtime opportunities at work as there has been in the past. So, but that's all right. Nice thing about it is we do have summer classes that take place, so it's possible that I could be able to do basically what I did this last night, which is saying I have been neglecting my vacuuming duties and my dusting duties. Can I come in the weekend and get some overtime to play catch up? Which my boss has no problem with doing this for me because he understands the run that I have is not a one-person run. It is at the least 1.5. At least if you're going to get everything done. One of my buildings is where the gym is at. So just that floor alone, if you do it right, instead of half-assing it, like just about every one of my coworkers do, it takes about 1.5 hours. Sonar, I'm glad you're here. I think I figured out how to wrench you. Let me see if I can do this again. Got that going on. Whoa, okay, that was kind of weird. Got it. That. Haha, there it is. Add as moderator. Yep. Is it? Yes. Okay. Satnar, I believe you are now wrenched, if I did that right. So, yeah. Fuck, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, so overtime. So, I'll be trying to get as much overtime as I can, but it's probably going to be a while before more amazing opportunities come up. You are quite welcome, my friend. So until then, I'll be trying to save up what I can to make it happen. But honestly, I'm not expecting my actual PC to be kick-ass until like maybe around Halloween, Thanksgiving, somewhere around that area. American Thanksgiving. I should probably clarify on that. I'm not sure how many people who watch this are like Canadian or their own country has their own Thanksgiving type of holiday. I know that with Canada, their Thanksgiving is like mid-October, something like that, like the second Monday or something like that. I don't remember exactly. It's been a while since I looked into it, but I know that's definitely not the same Thanksgiving date that we have here in the United States, which is the fourth Thursday of November. Which I know why it's on that date, but that's not really relevant. We're in fucking June. I don't need to talk about that. So I guess that's really it for my computer discussions. I guess I'll go ahead and go in order with this. So there was a MGTOW-related video that I saw that was posted not too long ago. I think I did that right. Can you guys see the the video that's blue, that's labeled as Jeff's story. Can you guys see that okay? I think you guys should be able to. It looks like it. But so anyways, this is by Shannon Rice Lewis, as you can see here. He's one of the links that I've provided in the description. He usually posts like these cartoon images. Well, cartoon is not really exactly accurate. You're going to see what I'm talking about. A lot of his stuff is MGTOW related because he himself is a MGTOW, but a lot of it involves like the dating scene and why it's bullshit.
Okay, so this is a story about a fellow that I know personally. We were co-workers and drinking buddies for a couple of years. So I've heard his life story over and over many times, so much so that I pretty much have his whole life story memorized.
Which is very helpful if you're going to pass on the news to somebody else. You hear it just once, you're more likely to fuck it up somewhere.
So back in the early 2000s, my friend was working as a higher-up at one of the financial institutions here in California. He was pretty much on top of the world, making bank, and life just couldn't get any better for him.
Cool.
He had the perfect wife and kids, he had the perfect job, and he had the perfect house. But then one day in about 2015, his perfect world came crashing down.
2015. Interesting. Oh, hey, so, yep. It's a little bit small. Okay, let's see. There we go. That's on full screen. Does that help? Yeah, looks like it will help, hopefully. Isn't there a way to, like, make this bigger? I'm pretty sure I've seen Undead Chronic do that, where he's been able to adjust the size. Oh, hold on.
He got into one little fight with his wife. It was the first major fight that they had. It wasn't even a violent one.
Bitch.
It was just one of those yelling and screaming ones. Those I'm done with you type of fights. Long story short, my friend ended up getting arrested that night because his wife wanted him out of the house forever. She basically made up an elaborate story that got him put away for a few days. By the time...
That's something I just thought of. He's basing this off of a true story of somebody that he's known for years. I wonder how much that guy actually looks like this and how much the wife actually looked like the fat bitch. I'm kind of curious about that. Or if he completely changed their looks overall for protecting identity and stuff like that. I wouldn't be surprised if the guy's name is Jeff.
My friend was out of jail. Everything he had was pretty much gone. His job was gone because they got wind of his accusations, and they didn't want to be part of that in any way.
Hey, brother Shinobu is here. How is it going? Shinobu, are you wrenched as well? No, you're not. Okay, you know what? I respect the hell out of you too, so you know what? You're getting a wrench. There we go. No. Oh, yeah, let's go back to this.
Family was gone just like that. They went to go live with her mother in some other state.
Oh,
His
poor
house was
son.
up for sale because she basically moved everything out when he was in jail for those few days. His
Wow.
bank accounts were cleaned out, and he barely had about $70 in cash to his name.
Meaning she had been planning this for a long-ass time. You can't pull off something like that quickly unless you plan for it ahead of time. She probably had this planned out years ahead in advance.
That's right, $70. He had $70. That was what he had on him when he got arrested, and he had the clothes on his back. She took the car, she took the accounts, the house, all because they were married and she could legally do so. He basically had to start from square one overnight. He was straight up homeless. He went from a white-collar big shot to homeless on the streets in a matter of 7 days.
And people wonder why MRAs are a thing. I mean, they may be weak over the years, but they're still a thing.
He basically looked like a lawyer or doctor that just went homeless. He looked so out of place. He didn't look like your average typical bum. Anyways.
Hey, JR, how's it going? It's good to have you here, brother.
Within a few weeks, he was finally able to get a job somewhere, and it was at a thrift store. That's right, the Salvation Army. That's the only place that would hire him,
Wow.
a homeless person. So he worked at this thrift store for about 2 months, and he was able to buy a few items like a bike and some clean clothes, and he was even able to buy like a tent and a sleeping bag. He kept working at the thrift store, and within about 5 months, he was able to buy himself a van. The van was an older.
How much does the Salvation Army pay? That's fucking awesome. 70s or 80s. I love Shannon's drawings and animations. They're great. These are really funny.
Van. It was from the 70s or 80s, and maybe cost him about $800 or so.
Oh,
but it sure beat sleeping out on the streets. The van had basically everything he needed to stay safe and clean. He continued to work at the thrift store and live in the van. By 2016, he was able to get a better job at a local grocery store. Cool. He worked at the grocery store and survived in the van. He was able to get a little money saved up and buy some things for himself that made life enjoyable again. By 2017, he became one of the assistant managers at the grocery store, and he was able to get himself a studio apartment not far from his work site.
There we go. He's building himself up. He's being a man about it. Good. Yes, Shinobi, this is based off of real events. This is somebody that Shannon knew personally once upon a time. Yeah, like this story started off in the earlier part of the century. But yeah, he's known this guy for years.
It basically took him a year and a half to get back on his feet again. Today, he's got a better job and he's doing much better. He made a full recovery from his wife's bullshit that nearly cost him his life. There's a local bar we used to go to every weekend, and every regular there has heard this story inside and out dozens of times. He spreads the word about how women and marriage can be devastating to a man's life. Yep. Most guys don't know this, but being in a marriage with a woman is like riding a horse. Everything could be going smooth and pleasant 1 second, and the next second, boom, you get kicked off for no reason whatsoever. But
I actually really like that metaphor, not only because it's very good, but some of you guys may have heard me say this before, but I actually genuinely have a legit fear of horses.
But God bless him. He survived it. He went MGTOW, and that's Jeff's story right there. God bless him.
Amen. For you, Jeff, or whatever your IRL name is. But yeah, if you guys liked this video, screw you, ads. I don't like you. Actually, not too long ago, I saw an ad for one of those games that they were just mocking, where the hero, he's pulling a giant sword out of, for lack of better words, the bust of a female statue. It's like, wow, you definitely know where they were trying to get you at with this one. But yeah, I personally have no interest in those games whatsoever. They all look fucking stupid. So, but yeah, Jeff's story is a very common one, unfortunately, especially in leftist hellholes like California. Oh, hold on. So, no. Oh, here's something we disagree on. I like horses. Boo! I'm kidding. I get why a lot of people like horses. They are beautiful animals, and they are very helpful, and usually they're good with kids and stuff like that. I, for one, just had a traumatic experience, so it forever scarred me. Yeah, the travelers would always keep theirs in the garden of the abandoned house next to my nan's house when I was small. But I can understand why many are wary about them. Yeah, my case, I don't know how much I've shared about this online, and honestly, if I have, it's been so long ago, I wouldn't be surprised if none of you guys have heard this story. But basically, when I was 3, we lived in an apartment complex that was nearby a farm area. My older sister and I, we would sometimes go over there with mom nearby, of course, always. And we literally grab some of the hay that's right there and reach up, and the horses would eat. So one day, one of the horses, which by the way, there was 3 of them, one of the horses nibbled at my arm a little bit. Yeah, this is according to how my mom interprets it. It just kind of did like its little grabbing with its lips, not even really doing anything with its teeth, just blah, 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 basically lipping me, because it was probably trying to get like some random bit of straw that was on my arm. Little 3-year-old me did not see it that way. I remember it to where it full on bit me in the arm, picked me up, and shook me violently like a rag doll. Which means my mom is probably correct, but for whatever reason, that's how I remember it. That's how I've been scarred with this, so I can't go near a horse without freaking out. I have no problem seeing them on TV. I have no problem seeing people in weird horse costumes, depending on how weird it gets. In fact, I used to really like My Little Pony Friendship as Magic to the point to where I actually cosplayed as a male version of Pinkie Pie. Which that was really fun because I also had my son dressed up as her pet alligator named Gummy. It was a small little toothless alligator, and he at the time had no teeth, so it seemed very fitting. So we put him in like this green onesie that had a small alligator on it. Oh, it was amazing. It was hilarious. Okay, so we got other people talking about horses. Horseback riding, only thing you got to worry about is the bucking you off. Yeah, that's true. If you're on the horse, that's the only thing you really got to worry about. And the head swinging back because the neck is pure muscle. Oh, shit, I never would have thought of that. I want to get a horse and ride it around my farm. I'll use a bow and hunt from horseback. Is that legal where you live? That might be something you're going to want to look at. I haven't been on a horse since I was 11, says JR. You know, I don't think I've ever been on a horse. Going Scythian style. Oh, okay. I see why he's saying that. Yeah. Shinobi, you got that saucer. The government stole a UFO. Damn. Sorry, just getting caught up there. So, yeah. Just another perfect example of why men should go MGTOW. I will say as a side note, I do want to see... pardon me. I would like to see marriage laws improve for the sake of the guys who do want to get married. And I've said it before, and I still agree to this to an extent. I think one of the ways to make marriage laws improve for the benefit of men is it still needs to happen. There still needs to be men stupid enough, desperate enough, brainwashed enough, however you want to word it, who still want to go through the process of getting married and still doing it. I do, however, like the idea of more and more men realizing it because then the government's going to see more and more of the impact. But knowing how tyrannical the government can be, that's not necessarily a good strategy to go with either. I don't care about legal anymore. They don't obey their own laws. That is very fair. That's a very fair statement. So, moving away from the MGTOW story, we got something involving the Alphabet Mafia. It's just some more button clicking. Yeah, this is the one I want. There we go. Okay, so this one is from Black and White Network, which I've also provided the link down there. Dating and marriage in 2023 is dead as dead. Yeah, pretty much. Which I'm fine with it. I haven't done it in like. Let's see, when was the last time I had a date? Last time I had sex was about 5.5 years ago. Last time I had a date though. Well, I had a friendly date with an old friend like 3 weeks ago, something like that. It was just her and I catching up. But as far as like actual seriously romantic, like I want to be with you kind of bullshit. God, I can't even remember the last time I've had one of those. So this is this guy is going to be talking about stuff, and we're going to be looking at stories that he posts. Which, by the way, this is a pretty great channel. You guys are already subscribed to them, so I would definitely recommend.
I told you guys that the radicals in the alphabet movement are out there because they want your children.
Facts.
It's quite simple, guys. The children are the future. Remember, that was actually a song, I believe, in 1980s. Was it Whitney Houston, I believe? Yeah. Because it's true. The children are the future.
Yes, they are. D-Man 50. How's it going, brother? Good to have you back. JR, 3 years ago, my last date, besides the physical stuff, it was meh. Well, considering how women are nowadays, a meh is kind of a win, don't you think? That's kind of the way that I see it.
And the woke activists, the trans activists, the alphabet mafia, they want your kids.
Yep.
But I believe, folks, a lot of people are still asleep at the wheel.
Very.
They're probably not believing it. Why? Because the mainstream media is not covering this stuff.
No, they're not.
Only channels like this one, other smaller outlets, are out there covering this thing. The mainstream media, they don't want to touch this stuff here. And yet politicians are allowed to actually go out there and lie about all of it because they're perfectly okay with the indoctrination of children. Even in Florida, man, Ron DeSantis is actually banning books like Gender Queer, which actually goes into explicit stuff. And what happens? The activists, they don't care.
What's kind of funny about that is there was an interview that Tim Pool did recently with one of these alphabet mafia activists where she was, of course, she was one of these people who was saying that DeSantis is bad for banning these books from children's libraries. And he asked her the question, well, what about a Playboy magazine? Well, of course, that shouldn't be for kids. It's like, this is worse, which in some ways is true. Some of these books have like descriptions on how to do certain acts and actual drawings of how to do the acts. Whereas with Playboy, it's just naked women. In my opinion, Playboy is more kid friendly than some of these books, which is really weird to say that about Playboy. I don't even know if they do magazines anymore, to be honest.
They don't care that that book isn't made. It shouldn't be in schools for kids because they want it in school for kids.
Yep.
Wake up, America. You've been asleep for too long, man.
Yep.
What's going to happen? It's going to be some type of a leftist Marxist takeover.
Yep.
And what's going to happen when they take over? Guess what? They're going to ban all this stuff.
It's disgusting.
Because it's all about power, guys.
Yep.
It's all about power.
Yep, absolutely. They want to condition our children to think like them, because not only do they want to try and make less of those who are on the conservative side, but they understand that for most of those in this community, they lack the ability to reproduce on their own. So they basically have to steal what they cannot make.
Because the people that you think would actually allow you to do all this stuff, if they get control, guess what? The population is going to decline. Why? Because let's just be real. Simple biology.
Yep.
2 men don't reproduce a baby. They just can't. It's a biological fact. And what's going to happen? They're going to turn on you. That's just the way it is.
Damn straight, D-man.
But guys, we need to talk about what happened at a pride event out there in New York City. Yes, in the People's Republic of New York.
Now, before he shares this, I would like to point out, I live in the Portland, Oregon metro area. I don't live in Portland itself, thank God. But I live close enough to where I just say I live in Portland and it's close enough. My son's mother technically is in this community. For a while, she identified as bi. Now she identifies as, I want to say, gender fluid. So she's got a tie to this community. She's got friends who are in this community. She's dated people in this community. I will admit, I have friends in this community as well myself. So I'm not gonna make it sound like that I distance myself from them entirely. But in the past, before our son was born, I have talked with her about going to one of the pride events in Portland. Portland actually has one of the oldest pride events, traditionally speaking, in the country. And at the time, I was thinking, I do want to go and show support for those who I consider friends. But now that we have this child together, I don't want him to be anywhere near this crap because of stuff like this. He is a child. He doesn't need to see grown men with thongs getting their butts whipped. No, thank you. Will you die for your morals? Some will. I like that. I like that, Shinobi Wan.
Guys, they're not even hiding anymore, guys.
Nope.
They want the kids. They are telling you that they want your children.
They've been saying it for years. Yay, advertise! Give me that.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? Remember that movie in the 1980s? I love this movie, The Beastmaster, with Mark Singer.
Beastmaster.
He played the Beastmaster, and there was this high priest called Zed, and he was
Hello, Mile High Ronin. Good to see ya.
Actually making sacrifices to his god. The god was named R, and he says the god R demands your children. And what happens? He goes out there into the crowd, and his men start rounding up children, and guess what? He sacrificed them. Yes, that's what was actually happening in that movie.
Now, I have not seen this movie that he's talking about. I don't even know if I've heard of it. I mean, I probably have, and I just don't remember. But I know I haven't seen it. It reminds me of the Exodus in the Bible. During the time when Moses was still trying to get the Hebrews freed from Egypt, at one point, Pharaoh says, you have your freedom to leave, but your children are staying behind. Pharaoh understood that children are the future. And of course, Moses, being the man that he was, put in the position that he was, he did the right thing. He said, no, we're taking our children with us.
So now, guys, look at this. This is on the post-millennial here. It says, we are coming for your children.
Yep.
Topless activists chant at New York City drag march. Disgusting. They're telling you what they're doing, guys. They are telling you what they are doing.
Yep.
And they don't care.
Nope.
Because if you don't comply, they don't care. They're coming for your kids anyway. This is dangerous, radical stuff, folks. And we got the video clip here.
Now, Sodner has a really good point right here. They like to do a thing called soft disclosure, seeding the sick shit they do in movies and other such things. That is very true. I've actually been pointing this stuff out back in the 90s, seeing kids' movies and kids' shows where they will occasionally have butts in clear view. Shows like Dexter's Laboratory. There's been a couple of times where you see Dexter's bare naked butt right there. Little child, bare naked butt. And of course, there's also shows like The Simpsons. We've seen Homer's butt a few times. Family Guy. Hundreds of times we've seen Peter walk around naked. We've also seen Stewie walk around naked. We've seen Tom Brady walk around naked. And these are being normalized. Perfectly normal. South Park, that's another one. So, and there's also movies. There's that Road to El Dorado. There's a scene where the main characters are kind of running like they're about ready to, if I recall correctly, they were going to dive in a river and play around and shit like that. Oh, hey, Mile High Ronan's got a great example right here. Why is it not coming up? There we go. Oh, sorry. JR. Come on, computer. Why are you not wanting to show? Okay, that is really weird. It's not like, oh, there we go. Finally. Ren and Stimpy. That was another amazing example of what I'm getting at. But yeah, so you see the backsides of the two guys from the Road to El Dorado. You see, I mean, the view is kind of terrible, but you can still see enough detail to see what the hell's going on. The main character in Titan AE, there's like a 2-second scene where you see his butt as he's being examined by the lady who ends up being the lead female character, the love interest. Powerpuff Girls, how to make homunculi and drain life force from kids. I don't know that episode. Then again, I didn't really watch a lot of Powerpuff Girls. Not because I didn't like it. I thought it was a fun show. I don't know. I never really watched a whole lot of episodes of that. JR, Ren and Stimpy was awesome. It was. I will admit, I was one of those kids who loved that show. My favorite episode, hands down, was the one where Ren's cousin comes to visit, but Ren's cousin is basically like a Chihuahua version of Stimpy, so those two get along very well. And they play a game called Don't Whiz on the Electric Fence. It's so terrible. Ren actually pulls out his meat stick. It's so terrible. Oh, it's no wonder why my mom did not like me watching that show. It's bad.
And I'm actually going to have to probably hide some stuff.
Probably.
Because there is a person out there topless.
Yep.
These people do not care. Let's read this, guys. Hundreds gathered on Friday in the East Villages, Tompkins Square Park for the annual New York City Drag March. I didn't know this thing was even annual, to tell you the truth. Where some in attendance proclaim that they are, quote, coming for your children.
Yep.
And it's more than just some guys, because we got the video clip. In a video posted on Twitter by Timcast News, protesters chanted, quote, we're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children. With some in the crowd dancing topless. Yeah. In an online post,
Disgusting.
Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene said, quote, this movement grooms minors to have mastectomies and castration and fuels a multi-billion-dollar medical child abuse industry.
True.
Passed the Protect Children's Innocence Act. Let kids be kids. Yes.
Amen.
I completely agree with that.
And
So what she said.
I'm going to pause. And some of the people who fallen for the trap. What the hell? What just happened?
The best way to burn fat and get in shape. It's not keto, it's
so
paleo, fasting, or vegan, and it's not super.
I mean,
some of the people who have fallen for the trap of the tea, so to speak, have come out and have said that they've regretted it and that basically it's nothing more than a scam to provide more money to the pill people. 90s was the last decade where they threw everything out the window. Political correctness, liberal programming wasn't a thing. For the most part, yeah, but it's also when liberal programming was kind of starting to slowly seep in, I would say. It was very subtle here and there, but it was starting. Yes, I fully support that.
I mean, this is indoctrination, guys. There's no other way to put it. It is indoctrination.
Yep.
And we got the clip right here because she actually tweeted it out. This is indoctrination, guys. I mean,
now you see the flag right here. It says drag is not a crime. In and of itself, technically that's correct. What does make it a crime is when you're doing it in front of children because it's indecent exposure. It's the same it'd be the exact same thing if a guy, just because he thought that he could, went to a local elementary school and streaked. And I don't mean like running around. I mean just like kind of doing like a strut. You're like, hi, kids, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. If it was just a guy who was not claiming to be dragged, or not claiming to be dragged, it was just a guy doing it because he was a pervert, he'd go to prison, and rightfully so. They're hiding behind the label of drag to justify having perverts being around children. It's one of the many reasons why I took my son out of the school system a couple years ago, and I do not regret that decision.
I mean, this is sickening.
It is.
What these people are doing.
Very.
And there's too many people, I believe, standing on the sideline allowing this stuff to happen. Let's play this clip, guys.
I see he went ahead and he censored it himself because there's at least one prepared tweet out.
Now, you guys probably can't see this, but the lady here on the left is topless.
And who's to say it's a real lady?
But I'm covering it out because I don't even think this is appropriate for YouTube, even though she has the nipples covered.
Yeah, it's not allowed for YouTube where almost everybody on it is an adult, but it's perfectly fine to have this shit in book form for children under the age of 10. Left is impossible.
Yeah. So there you have it, guys. Right there. They're telling you guys they're coming for your children.
They are coming
And
for our
it's a
children.
bunch of white leftists that are actually doing this.
Yep.
Yes. White leftists want your children, man. Just like
Yep.
in the Beastmaster. Exactly like that. They're coming for them, guys. They're
In the
telling you
Exodus.
that. Wake up. Wake up. It's sickening, guys, that
Evil always wants your
this
children.
is happening right here. But politicians on the left, they want this stuff to happen. This is so radical, man. I don't see how anybody.
Shinobi 1, I'm teaching my son that these folks are evil. Well, good. They need to be teaching your son the truth. They stole our rainbow and turned it. Yeah. Yeah, that is very true. Very
can actually
true.
go out there and vote Democrat, but people do. They do it, man.
Yep.
But people are going to have to wake up, man. You're going to have to tell your neighbors about what's truly going on because 2024 election, I believe that's super important.
Very.
It is so important to stop the madness of the left. And Joe Biden seems to be perfectly okay with what's actually happening. Remember, he actually had a drag show, not necessarily a drag show, but I guess you could say a Pride festival on the grounds of the White House. So what happened? Some transgenders exposed themselves. Now, of
Yep.
course, they ended up getting banned. That's because of the backlash. But I'm pretty sure that
The
Joe
only
Biden had
reason they got
nothing to do
banned.
with that. The optics looked bad.
Very.
But all these Pride marches out there, man, they're telling you, man, they're coming for the kids.
Yeah.
They are saying it. They're not even hiding it, guys.
Nope.
They're not hiding it. Now, let me go ahead and share my screen again because remember this here. This is from 2021.
Yep.
Remember I believe this was the San Francisco gaming.
Okay, look at how many guys there are here. Let's actually count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. By 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so 81 guys, assuming that none of these are repeats. 81 gay men singing this stuff.
Men's choir. All men gay. And their lyrics were actually, will convert your children. Yes. Because right here, if you guys are watching on YouTube or Rumble, you can see right here, quote, will convert your children, a message from the San Francisco Gay Men's Choir. They were out there singing this.
And to top it off, after this was posted and it got a shit ton of backlash, they took it down because it looked bad for the gay community, even though it exposed the truth. And to top it off, there were some people who took this video and did some research and found that at least a few of these guys were actually convicted of child graping and other child-related naughty touching crimes. They were disgusting villains. So, of course, they would say they want to convert our children. They want their disgusting degeneracy to be normalized and legalized.
They're not hiding this stuff, folks. They're
No, they're
telling
not.
you. They're not going to let kids just be kids. They're not going to let kids just kind of, grow into their own path.
Nope.
They're going to go out there and they're going to demand that they convert your kids.
Yep. It's like the kid sniffer in chief said recently. They are all our kids. They actually believe that they own our children. They have more of a right to have a say in how our kids are brought up than their own freaking parents. In their mind, I have no right to say how my son is going to be taught, how he's going to be raised, what faith to establish him with. I do not have that right, according to the sick, demented kid peddling leftists. And Sniffy McJoe-Snap, he's on board with it.
That's what they're saying. That is the whole agenda of the alphabet-mafia. They're not hiding it.
Yep.
So you people out there that's still asleep at the wheel.
It's the agenda of the
you
entire
better wake
left.
up. You better wake up, man, because these people, man, they're not going to stop.
Nope.
Radical leftists do not stop. And you cannot negotiate with these people.
Nope.
When I hear somebody say, hey, we're coming for your children or we'll convert your children, how can you actually negotiate with that person? You can't.
Exactly. And you know what? I'm actually going to go ahead and end it there because that's basically the gist of what he's getting at. So yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a link to his channel down there, and it's not just him. There's also a white guy who oftentimes talks about stuff too, and a lot of what they cover does relate to sports, but not all of it. A lot of it's actually very political as well. It just kind of depends on what video they post, but they do a lot of great stuff, a lot of great coverage. So I would definitely recommend them. Timothy Sokol. My apologies if I pronounced that wrong. Deviance is becoming commonplace by design. Yes, absolutely. Oh, you're quite welcome, JR. I'm glad you subbed to them. They're a great channel. I would also recommend subbing to Shannon as well. He does a lot of great cartoon videos like that. So a lot of what he does, though, is, or at least I should say was, involves using dating apps. I think he still does them every now and then, but this has all been part of the plan for a long time. That is also very, very true. You know, like what I was saying earlier, you can see the seeds of approving and sorry, you can see you can see the seeds of this indoctrination as soon as the 90s. You might even be able to say as soon as the 80s and maybe even 70s. That might be a little bit of a stretch, though. But yeah, no, this has definitely been part of the plan for a long time, and it's disgusting. We definitely need to stand up to it. So, speaking of disgusting, I'm not sure how to go about doing this. Is that it? Woo! Okay, yes. So what you're seeing now is the opening scene to an anime that I just recently started watching. It's like 2 years old. It's a pretty new anime, and its primary message is one that I think is very relevant to the real world. In fact, I believe it may have been inspired by, stuff that's going on and whatnot. Hey, D-Man's got something to say. This goes back 75 to 100 years minimum based on my personal studies. Honestly, that wouldn't surprise me either. That really wouldn't surprise me either. I mean, how long has feminism been a thing? Over 100 years. So I wouldn't be surprised if part of the early planning process of feminism, as well as the rise of communism, I wouldn't be surprised if they were tied into all of this together. Anybody remember the URI vid? A defected KGB agent explaining how the KGB has infiltrated the USA decades ago. Oh, Uri. Yes, actually, I do remember that. That was a really great vid. Very informative and frightening. Last anime I watched was Parasite. Was cool. Yeah, Parasite was pretty damn awesome. This one is much more in the comedy aspect. It's called Shimoneta, which, from what I understand, that's the Japanese word for dirty jokes. And it's because this takes place in, I'm just going to play it. Yeah, you go ahead. Ooh, booty. Yeah, so you see here, there's guys who are looking at naughty mags. There's 5 of them, and they look like the stereotypical delinquents. You got one with a bandana, you got one with a mohawk, you got one with spiked blonde hair. And there's Boots from the Feds. Which, by the way, YouTube probably wouldn't like this too much, but yet they're totally fine with what kids get to see. That's far worse than this shit.
Let's break open this dick sizzler.
Yeah, did you catch what he said? D-word sizzler.
Idiot! You can't say dick sizzler, man!
Uh-oh.
Dick sizzler too!
Oh no! Oh no! Yeah, they're wearing collars around their necks to monitor if they say naughty words.
We gotta hide him
They're hiding the loot like it's drugs. Oh, here's the pigs. Boom. He's been tased. Tased for porn.
We're confiscating every single page of this unhealthy garbage.
And it's not even hardcore porn. It's just look at the pretty girls.
And for your crimes of naughty talk, hard labor,
Yeah, they're going to go to a work camp because they said dick.
duration determined by word severity.
On your feet, now.
This is the dream future for YouTube.
Now burn it all!
Fire. Yeah, fire, fire. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just stop with that. But basically, as you can see, this is an idea to where... Okay, so we know Japan nowadays as being one of the most sexually liberated, or I guess I should say sexually accepting societies in the world. You know, they have so many genres of that kind of content that we don't have here. I mean, unless we get it from Japan. And in this anime, they take it to a point to where someone is like, this is not the best thing for raising children. We need to improve the future for the sake of our children and for the sake of our country. So it kind of reminds me of some of the arguments that I've heard from both the hardcore left and the hardcore right about how this content is harmful. I mean, they have different focuses. The right focuses on how it's harmful for the family and our immortal souls, whereas the left is more about it's harmful towards women, but it's also empowering towards women, and we don't see a hypocrisy here because we're stupid leftists. But a lot of what goes on in this, it reminds me basically more of where the left wants to take this kind of stuff, including this particular platform. Ultimate censorship. Unless it's for toddlers, then it's perfectly fine. Which actually is not the case in this particular anime. It's like episode 3 or 4, somewhere in there. I've only just started watching this, as I said, and I've made it up to episode 5, I think. I'll have to double check. I've actually kept note on this stuff because I do a really shitty job of keeping track of where I left off with anime. But kids will be arrested in this anime world right here. But the main character, his father was what was called a terrorist because he did not agree with the censorship of speech. He was like, if I say the word penis, I should not go to a federal prison for it. That makes him a terrorist. Sounds kind of like Canada, doesn't it? No, but the main character, he decides that he wants to embrace this future of forced purity. And he ends up meeting a girl. And of course, this is in high school. They have to be high schoolers for whatever reason. So he meets a girl who is also this type of a terrorist. She wears a pair of her feminine underwear over her face like it's a mask and a cloak. And that's quite literally it. In fact, the very first scene that we see her, she's about to be surrounded by like 20 male soldiers. And she's like, careful guys, under this cloak, I'm not wearing anything. So if you struggle with me at all, you'll risk exposing my naughty bits. And I can have you fired and thrown in prison for touching an innocent maiden or some crap like that. It's pretty damn hilarious in my opinion. Which, by the way, this came immediately after we see a woman, an attractive woman, admitting to the main character that she was going to falsely accuse another guy on their subway train falsely of touching her butt. Like, she was quite literally like, how dare you interrupt my ability to lie about this? I had an opportunity, a golden opportunity to sue for millions of yen. She literally admitted it to this kid. Like he did something wrong and she was going to kick his ass. It was hilarious. But you know, for the type of show that this is, where they're trying to control speech, they're trying to control sexual purity, it actually does a pretty good job of not showing any actual nudity. Like what we just saw, that small little clip, we didn't see any details. And you don't see any details until episode 4, when the student body president, for reasons that I'm not going to spoil, she reveals herself because she's given into her hormones and has no idea what she's doing. Yeah, these kids have been so sheltered from these conversations, from these words, from anything relating to sex, they don't understand where babies are made. These are actually regular things that are brought up in the show, where they don't know what the other gender's genitalia looks like. They don't know where babies come from or the process involved with it. And it's hilarious. So when the student body president is giving into her natural instincts, she's like, what's with this extra finger you have down here? And why does it feel so good having it pressed up against my body? It's just so damn wrong. She basically grapes him in his apartment because everybody's hormones have been in so much constricted control by the government that when they have just that slightest bit of passion, they react crazily. Now, I don't know why it is that her stupid little sensors didn't go off. I don't know that. I do know that the female terrorist, the one who actually wears her underwear as a mask, apparently her father, he had some sort of technology thing that was on a flip phone. He had a flip phone, and it still worked, even though this was like decades into the future. It had a program on it that when it's activated, which it only lasts for like 3 minutes a day or some shit. Like I don't remember exactly what they said. But when it's activated, all those little tags that are close by are temporarily deactivated. So you can say all the naughty things that you can think of, which she does quite literally do all the freaking time. It temporarily nullifies it. So it's a fun show. It's hilarious. And if you look at it as Japan's version of 1984, it's kind of scary because I could see it happening, but with less technological advancements. I mean, it's definitely one that's futuristic. I mean, it takes place in the future by a few decades. So, of course, they're going to make guesses on how technology advances. And, of course, a lot of these guesses are based off of solely off of plot point. But, so yeah, Shimoneta, I would definitely recommend it. Even though I haven't finished it myself, I would still recommend it. It's fun. And, like I said, it's kind of like a Japanese version of 1984. So, alrighty. We're almost at an hour here, so I think I'm actually going to go ahead and call it quits. Thank you guys for once again stopping by. And I'm going to remove that, go back to this. So yeah, thanks again for dropping by. Peace out. I'll see you around another time. Hopefully I'll have more videos out like what I used to do months ago. And never forget that if you abuse alcohol, it will abuse you back. Take care, my brothers.